There is a secret crime that many individuals across the United States don't talk about. Every single day in America, hard-working, trusting, and honest people lose thousands of dollars, totaling up to $143 million a year. This is the world of romance scams. Welcome to Catfish.
Today on Catfish, we speak to a woman named Crystal from Columbia, South Carolina, who is talking to a man named Derrick Phan living in Hong Kong. They met on PlentyOfFish.com and they plan on getting married. The problem is that Crystal has never met him in person. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
I appreciate you jumping on today. I'm David. I'm a founder of SocialCatfish.com. A little nervous, or how you feeling?
I'm just going to see how it goes.
All right, Crystal, well, tell us your story. Let's hear it.
I'm a single mother, 5 children. I had been widowed for a number of years. And so a friend of mine told me that, I should try online dating because that's how they found their significant other. So I decided to give it a try. I went on POF. I sent a message to Derrick. We started texting back and forth. He asked me to go on to Hangout, so I did. He seemed like the perfect match for me. We were compatible, it seemed.
Were you dating before that, or this is kind of like your first introduction into dating on at all?
Online dating, yeah.
Yeah. And how did you feel? Like, did you feel excited or butterflies, or how were you kind of feeling at that time?
I was apprehensive at first.
Yeah.
Because, I was a little leery because, not knowing who you're really talking to and whatnot. But after I talked to him for a good little while, I felt comfortable with it. So I felt like, yeah, it was okay. It was safe.
What are like some of the things you guys talked about?
Plans for the future. He talked about his son and his mother. I talked about myself and my children and my job. He talked a little bit about his job. It was, just kind of getting, talking about kind of everything.
And were there any like red flags? Like, so as you guys were talking, were there any type of red flags that you're like, that's kind of weird, or that doesn't make sense?
He told me he grew up in Texas. He had an Asian accent, was really thick, like he had just maybe come over, not really, grew up here per se.
Right.
And then there were some American phrases that he didn't know, which would be typical phrases that, you would pick up in conversation, you would know what it meant.
Right.
He was going to finish up this last job and he was going to come here. We were going to get married, moving together, that kind of stuff. He started to ask me to send him money. His debit card didn't work over there.
How long were you guys talking before he had asked for money for the first time?
Honestly, not really long, 3 weeks.
When the first time he asked you for money, being a single mom, what was your initial response to him?
I mean, like I told him, I can send you this right now, but I can't do it all the time.
Okay. When you guys were talking, I mean, you're spending a lot of time talking to him every single day. It sounds like it's hours.
I still talk to him. He still texts me. He's still asking me for money. He wants $1,100 right now to buy a plane ticket to come here. Supposedly, he got hit by a truck on the way to the airport and wound up in a hospital. And then he was telling me that, he's got all these hospital bills and whatnot, and getting emails and stuff from these doctors about his injuries and needing money to pay for his hospital care.
How are your feelings toward him right now?
Honestly, I'm still talking to him so that I can get the information on, to drop the boom on him, basically.
Yeah. Initially, what made you suspicious? So after talking to him and he starts asking you for money, what started making you really suspicious? Like, hey, something's going on.
I ran all his emails through Social Catfish. None of those came, none of them looked like they were real. So once I realized that I could probably get Social Catfish to do this for me so that I can show him enough is enough.
Right.
So I kind of been stringing him along.
So anyway, Crystal, next step, what we'll do is Lenny will get all the information over to you with all the proof. You can confront him and then, as you say, lay the boom down on him. So Lenny will be in touch, okay?
At least I'll have peace of mind knowing that he can't do this to anybody else.
Yeah. Crystal, we have Lenny on, who essentially has gone through and sifted through all the stuff that you sent over and pulled like public data and different things.
Well, first of all, Crystal, it's a pleasure to meet you. I know that you've been wanting this information for a while, and I appreciate you being very patient so we can do this right. I'm going to send this over to your email address right now, and what we'll do is we'll just kind of go through it together line by line. We looked up Derrick Phan in Texas and in New York, where the places where he said that he was from, and we didn't find any information on a person by that name at the addresses you gave, at the age range. Real people, if they have ever received mail, financed a cell phone, held a mortgage, those kind of things that should be in there. So that's how we know it's a fake name. You sent me a screenshot where they're discussing inheritance. But with this email, it's not common for the company this man works for to be sending you papers about inheritance. But suffices to say, this is a fake document. It's not from an attorney's office, and they want your passport picture, things like that. It just doesn't add up. One of my favorite parts of your case, Crystal, is the accident that he had. But the thing that amused me actually is that you got an email from hospitality. I think he meant hospital. And a Dr. Charles, again, a single name. Doctors don't really behave this way where they stop to make an email to a family member or significant other, mostly because there's usually other people at the hospital that would be doing that. And it would have to be authorized by the patient or whatever. So Dr. Wayne or Dr. Charles, they're both first names. That's one of the things that I found interesting there. I have to say, though, that the photos that you had, the Photoshop was pretty good. It was pretty close. If you don't see them side by side, you might take a double take. But if you do see them side by side, you know for sure. So that was interesting. The man in the photos is not the person that you're talking to. So they have basically stolen this man's photos, used it for Derrick. We found the man's photos on this site. If you'll scroll down, his name is Kwang Hae Wen, is how you pronounce that.
Were y'all able to tell where he was?
Yes, they tracked it to Japan. That was a surprise to me because
definitely,
because that's not typically what we find.
What's kind of going through your mind right now?
I have peace. Honestly, I have peace. I mean, yeah, it hurts. I feel stupid. I'm humiliated, but at the same time, I'm vindicated. I'm going to put my wrath on him and call it a day.
What's next for you? What are you hoping comes out of this for you?
I mean, honestly, I don't want him to do this to someone else.
Yeah.
I want him to be stopped. And I think the man's face that he's using, someone needs to let him know that this image is being used to scam people.
If it stops, one or two people from giving money, I mean, I think that's very noble. And I told you this other day, but I really commend you for coming forward and telling your story, because it's not easy, right? And I'm sure some of it's embarrassing and some of it is enraging, but I appreciate you, and I've gotten to talk to you a little bit, and I think you have a great future ahead of you. Unfortunately, you've had this speed bump in the road, but you seem like a strong woman with a good head on her shoulders and a hard worker, and I have no doubt that that's going to go a long ways for you.
Like I said, I have peace now, because before I was tired of questioning, was this real and whatnot. So now that I know for a fact, it really doesn't bother me.
And they have an amazing way that they can tell you that white is black and black is white, and you believe them. And that's psychologically, they use all those tools. They know about how those work, and that's the hard part.
Well, Crystal, just let us know if you need anything. We're here for you. And other than that, if there's nothing else, you have a great evening. And if we don't talk to you between now and Christmas, you have a wonderful Christmas.
Okay, you too. Thank y'all so much.
No problem whatsoever. You have a good night, okay?
All right, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you unsure if the person you're talking to online is real or fake? Maybe you've been trying to get a family member or friend to come to terms, and you have a story that you'd like to share about a romance scam. If this is you, email us at sharemystory@socialcatfish.com. By allowing our YouTube audience to hear about your experiences, you can educate them on what you went through and the signs you witnessed. Education is the best way to prevent these scams. Your story could be the reason thousands of scams are prevented.